Once again, it is Sunday. That means we're going to be going over the big three, Solana, Ethereum, and Bitcoin in that order, looking at the higher term timeframes, kind of doing a top-down analysis as we kind of walk through this overall correction that we have been seeing for forever, it seems like, but certainly the last few months here. And with every passing week, we've just kind of taken one more step in that direction of kind of confirming what we have been looking for. So I really want this to be a good example of kind of just, taking things one by one, realizing and understanding that, corrections and consolidations typically take a long time. And as we kind of go through each and every week, we're able to kind of tick off the next sort of box of, reversal approval in this case. So let's start it off with Solana right over here. Again, just focus on the higher term timeframes. I also want to be coming up with invalidation points for this as well. But Solana continuing to follow the good old LARP lines right here, playing between about 150 to the upside versus the lows at about 130 or 135 to the downside. Overall, Solana is putting in a daily higher low as of this last week, which is, obviously, more good than not, but that does make me more or less just lean towards overall bullishness now, looking at that as sort of like the next puzzle piece, if you will. And basically, as long as Solana is above Thursday's low, that October the 10th low of about 135.5, have to be leaning bullish, at least for the way that I look at things. From there, we can bring up some of our oscillators. We can see that the daily jewel continues to the upside right here, actually getting the first green DMI flip in quite some time. We're also seeing, I believe, the weekly also having potentially its first tick this week of some nice upside for that weekly jewel too. So again, one thing before the next, taking it one step at a time, very, very slow but steady, and things are happening in the background. Of course, can't get too excited about Solana as long as it is playing below that 152.5 region, but above 152.5, that is essentially all that I'm looking for to kind of confirm this as yes, a legitimate reversal. Sideways and upside is extremely expected from there. Next area of interest to the upside would be about 163. I do think that's more or less a formality, as Solana very likely will break that level upon the next test or two if it takes that long, and probably initiate its run towards 190 to 200 plus. Moving on from there, we can see that Solana on a momentum chart has once again on the weekly bounced off of this horizontal regression that has been holding in some of the most important lows since June of 2023, October of 2023, July of 2024, and potentially this low here as well. And these were some really, really significant lows for Solana, all major higher lows within this overall trend. And in this case, we will see the weekly stochastic momentum continue to the upside as long as Solana is basically closing this week at above 129.5, which right now it's like $20 above, or sorry, not $20 above. My brain is not working. 16 or so bucks above. So looking likely, I would say. Again, it's going to take some time, but things are turning in the background, which is going to be looking better and better. And of course, as we go through the different time frames, the 5-day also positioned to the upside here as long as Solana is above 137.5. 2-day time frame also about to freshly cross the upside if today closes basically here or higher. 146.44 is the magical number. Currently trading about 3 cents above that number. So it's a long day to go, obviously, but going to have its chance. And then the daily time frame also showing some nice upside here too, above 142.25. So I would be looking at this as, this next week is very likely having that actual opportunity to trade and potentially even close below that 152 region. If you do see that, yes, I don't think that, sure, weird and random things can happen. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. But at that point, this is going to be a series of higher lows in this overall consolidation, and that's typically when things do get actually ready to make the move. And, as we kind of progress through the month of October, that is to be expected in alignment with the Bitcoin statistics that we have been looking at on this channel pretty much every fucking day since this month began. Moving on to Ethereum over here. Ethereum weekly, again, certainly the weakest out of the big three, but it is continuing to hold in the same area that we have been marked off, for a long time now, the same regression that has been holding in the low since June of 2022, which was actually the macro low for Ethereum here as well. On top of that, same signal here that we're seeing on the weekly jewel. Again, not as strong, but ultimately, you can see that Ethereum is going to have a chance this week to potentially put in a higher low and confirm a higher low. What would that look like? Ethereum would need to, one, close the week, somewhere around here, just no massive catastrophic dumpzilla dildo parties before end of day. And then next week, close above this week's high, which is 25.20. If you see that, Yes, same shit as Solana. Expect this thing to run, maybe first to about 27.50, somewhere between there and about 28.25, and very likely get ready for the actual breakout, perhaps later this month. Starting to look better and better right there. Moving on from there and going into our momentum charts, we can see that Ethereum continues to follow the live lines as well. But going through weekly momentum, we can see again similar sort of regression here for Ethereum. Not as many tests as what we did see for Solana, but still pretty damn strong nonetheless, holding in the December 2022 lows, October 2023 lows, and these potentially September 2024 and October 2024 lows right here, assuming that Ethereum does continue to close today on the weekly above 2287. So looking better right there as well. Again, it's not going to happen like right here, right now, but you can see the next puzzle piece starting to be put in, and then next week, I do think that actually will have a legitimate possibility to close above this week's high, and at that point, probably move towards 28 or so. Anyways, what else do I want to see? Yeah, all higher term time frames kind of following the same sort of area, I suppose. 5-day time frame also showing upside momentum as long as Ethereum is closing above 23.51. That one just updated a couple days ago. 2-day time frame will also go to the upside, similar to Solana. If Ethereum closes today out above 24.59.5, which right now is trading about $5 above, and the daily time frame also heading up as long as Ethereum is above 24.14. So, this really does seem to me like the opportunity for the majors within this market. Of course, we should probably look at Solana versus Ethereum. I mean, you probably already know what the fuck's going on right here. Uptrend continues. Uptrend remains very, very bullish as long as it's above these September 23rd of the year 2024 lows. The uptrend is your friend, and this one, it's right fucking there on the precipice of an actual legitimate, like very legitimate breakout. Also at the point of like maximum potential for failure as well, because typically these sort of tests around the highs are where if you are going to get rejected, that is where it's going to come in around. But still in a position of power here, could very easily have a pullback down to 0.54 butyrols, but from there, probably looking for at least one more try, and that should be the try. If the next try does fail, I would be saying that this is going to come down and come down hard. Of course, we should probably look at Solana versus Bitcoin just really, really quickly. You can see right here, Solana versus Bitcoin, basically the same shit as what we did see on the US dollar chart. Easier to follow on the US dollar chart. Need to see this thing pop back above last week's high for me to look at this thing as like initiating bullishness with a move very likely back around July highs to follow quickly after that, and probably new highs, or maybe a retest of all-time highs after that, I suppose. And then of course Ethereum, Bitcoin. Should we even look at it? Do you even want to know? This thing's been beat up so fucking much. It does seem like, if you're looking for the downside move, you've probably seen a really strong amount of it. Maybe there's another move towards like 3.5 million Satoshis if it is going to have like a real nasty capitulation dump. But higher term time frame also is starting to get kind of spent up here. So perhaps a bit of a pity bounce. Quarterly still very fucking bearish, so this thing could bounce all the way up to like 4.4 million Satoshis, maybe even 4.5 million Satoshis. So I would be cognizant of that in the short term, like there is potential for a bounce, but long term, I think the downside still remains pretty strongly here. Quarterly momentum remains heavily to the downside, even breaking into the bearish control zone for the first time. Assuming this thing, remains below 7 million Satoshis, and long term, if this thing finds its way to 2.5 million or 3.5 million Satoshis, that is not like that would not be surprising at all. So long-term bearishness does remain here, unfortunately, for the butyrol bulas. And then lastly, Bitcoin. We'll just keep it nice and simple for Bitcoin. Still in the ZERP in the ZERP zone. Still in the derp zone right here. I'm also a fucking king derp because I can't even speak. And what do we have to say about this? Let's actually get on to the daily. I think the daily is a little bit easier in this regard. 38.2 level has actually marched up quite a fair bit. Basically for Bitcoin, look, as long as you're closing above $60,000, this is similar to Ethereum and Solana, the move, if you will. can come back down and test around, 61.5. That's not super concerning on like a quick flash wick. But ultimately, we would not really be expecting any closures below $60,000 if Bitcoin is going to indeed initiate the boolah from here. But again, just like Ethereum and Solana, we're still waiting. It's still going to take. It's still going to take some time. This next week would be the next sort of confirmation of a reversal. One of two things would do it for me. Either one, Bitcoin closing the next weekly above this week's high, which is 64,450, or, and again, this is next week, not even this week, or if Bitcoin closes the daily back above your September 2020, I did it again, your September 23rd highs right here. See one of those two things? Yeah, okay, this thing is ready to ready to actually move. Until then, yes, it's looking better. Yes, it's still looking like it's a bullish bias. Yes, I am still overly bullish. I am certainly bullishly biased based off the monthly statistics that we've gone over again a million fucking times, so I won't bore you with that today. But this can still take another week before we get an actual somewhat exciting move. In the meantime, it seems like actually a lot of the altcoins are the ones that are the exciting things right now. So fair enough. Anyway, short term, Bitcoin right here, right at the daily median, which is officially at 63,450. If it can close today above there, I suppose maybe early this week we do get an actual attempt. But until then, just expect the derp zone to kind of continue, and that goes the same really for the shorter term timeframes on Ethereum and Solana as well. It's like, the derp zone very likely continues, but constructiveness is happening in the background as, higher lows are being put in place and also to start to turn back around. It's just, this is at minimum going to take at least another week. So I suspect it's going to be some more boring times ahead, more boring times requiring a little bit more patience, but that's fine. We all got a sandpaper in our hands. Get ready for a little bit more of that action. And with that, I will be signing off. As always, I want to wish you the best. Take care. Much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow. Oh, fuck, I forgot to mention. Okay, couple things. One, Elsa she's out of commission right now, so she is like heavily sick, let's say. And so if you're trying to reach out to support, it's going to take like an extra day or two. I apologize about that, but it is what it is. She is very much under the weather. And what else? Yes, our first crypto school, which is a free school, is starting on Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be the day for the private live streams. There's a link in the description below which you can sign up to for free. And we'll end things on that note. As always, wishing you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully Monday.